So this is a question I get all the time as a coach, and there still seems to be a lot of confusion around this topic. Hopefully, we will be able to settle some of that today. So, what actually counts as a red flag, and what should you do when you come across one?
Good questions.
Let's find out. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Muslim Marriage Podcast, where we show you how to find and build a healthy marriage as a Muslim. I'm Zahra Hassan.
And I'm AJ, and we've been married for 4 years.
And let's get started.
Let's get started.
So this week's episode is entitled How to Correctly Approach Red Flags. There is some dialogue out there in the media space about how people should be approaching red flags when looking for a spouse. There are some aspects of that I agree with and a lot that I disagree with. And we're going to hopefully be able to cover some of that today.
Yeah.
But before we get into the question, what was your experience like when you were searching for a spouse? How did you approach red flags?
It required a lot of paint.
Okay. I
had to paint over those red flags to ignore them.
Oh, that's what you were doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were just putting on those rose-colored glasses.
No, yeah, just a dab here and a dab there.
That's...
Dab, 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 dab.
A dab will do ya. But then do you remember any of the talking stages that you were in and any red flags that you did come across on hindsight?
Like the red flags that I knew were if the person takes a long time to respond, especially in this day and age, like if they take 5 hours or 6 hours and then their response is very short, like just a one sentence response or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Tells me that either they're not interested in the conversation or they're trying to act aloof on purpose.
They're playing games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not being sincere.
Okay, so when you came across that, what did you do?
I just immediately say, yo, yeah, peace out. It's not working out.
Oh, so you would end it?
Yeah, I would. Of course I would end it.
Okay.
I'm not here for the games, you know?
Yeah.
I'm here to get married. I'm here to marry a mature adult.
Well, honestly, that criteria is hard to meet these days.
Some of these people act very immature the way they type.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, so when you met me, so which red flags now in hindsight did you look over or did you just gloss over?
You've not had any red flags except for one, which was like you're typically late for everything.
Oh, I remember that.
And so like for me, that wasn't an issue.
Yeah.
Right? Because sure, I'll be waiting for you, right?
Yeah.
But when we get married, then I'll just be chilling at home.
Yeah.
And then you will take your time getting dressed. And then when you're fully ready to go, you just let me know. And then I'll start getting dressed.
Okay. So did it affect you in your day-to-day life as a married man, my chronic lateness?
Yeah, like sometimes when I'm working late and I'm not able to make myself food, you'll bring me food late.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. This is good information to know. I'm glad we had this discussion.
It translated.
See, this is why you don't ignore the red flags because they will come back to be a part of your life later on, right? So I feel like that was on you. I was late from the jump.
You were late from the jump. You were very honest.
I remember that first time when you were, that first time that we were going to meet.
Yeah.
Remember? This was back in July, I believe. July in 2021.
Yeah.
So you and I had been on the phone and talking for, I think, a month at that point. And we had agreed after everybody was received their vaccinations, if you remember what was going on in 2021. And my sister was helping me get ready. And we were going to come down. And I remember my sister saying, listen, and I was a little bit nervous. I'm like, oh my God, I'm late. I don't want to be late.
Yeah.
I remember she said, listen, if he can't wait these 15 minutes or whatever number of minutes it is, she said, this whole situation isn't worth it.
Yeah, it was about 37 minutes.
You can blame my sister. That's what I'm saying.
I remember I spoke with you when we were married.
Did you say 37 minutes?
Just a ballpark number.
Honestly, that's
probably...
Get it? Because
we were in a park?
It was probably 37 minutes, yeah.
Well, once we got married, right?
Yeah.
And I spoke to you about it, about the food, right? I remember the reasoning that you gave me. It was quite profound.
Oh.
You didn't want to give me something that was like partially ready or half made, right?
Yeah.
And so when you wanted to give me the food, you would make it to your fullest extent until like it's a full plate or a full dinner or a full meal.
Yeah.
Right. And sometimes that'll take an hour or 2 or 3 hours. When my suggestion was to bring me like a small little snack or something,
like whatever's ready,
you just make something small.
Yeah.
To hold me off until it's like an appetizer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But you told me that you're always like worried that if you were to bring me something quick and small, like an appetizer, that I would not like it because I would be like judging your effort or something like that, you know?
Yeah, that's true. To be perfectly honest, I don't, this is the first time we're having this discussion. We might as well have it on air.
We've had the discussion once before to a lighter extent.
Oh, my.
We touched on it before.
Okay, I'm sorry. I should have probably paid better attention. But I'm usually doing dishes. That's what takes me so long.
You did tell me that, yeah.
Yeah, I'm usually doing it because
like you'll clean the entire kitchen.
Feels like
you can't start cooking until you start the entire kitchen cleaning.
That's something ingrained into me. My mom taught me that, you got to clean as you go. So every time I'm bringing literally a glass of water, I'm like, let me just finish cleaning the kitchen. It's a bad habit. I'm going to try to break it, In Shaa Allah. But
I'm the opposite, as you may know.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
When I make food, I'll make the food. And then I'll clean up after myself.
Yeah.
Sometimes. But like, you know
most
how...
times.
Okay, fine. Most times.
Yeah.
You know how like when I'm going downstairs...
Yeah.
And you ask for like a granola bar or something?
Yeah.
I would go downstairs, I would get you the granola bar, and I would bring it back upstairs.
I feel like you're making a point.
And then I'd go back downstairs, and then I would eat my food.
I know. Every time you do that, I'm like, I feel really bad. He's making a point here. Okay. All right. I will take these notes forward, inshallah, and I will do better.
Inshallah.
But going back to the topic at hand, which is about red flags, right? Let's go through this week's question that's coming in from the Muslim marriage subreddit, where a young woman asks a really good question. She says, I've been wondering lately how to know whether a potential person for the purpose of marriage, whether a potential has displayed a red flag or if this flaw is something that could be worked on. I'm not talking about obvious things such as clear lack of respect, rudeness, or disagreements on fundamental beliefs. More like if you guys are speaking to someone you are overall happy with, but there are a few nagging issues that don't align with what you want in a spouse. For example, if their iman is a bit low, or if there's someone who has difficulty coping with stress, so they freak out every other day about something new. How do you know if something's worth pursuing or if you should nope out? This is a good question, honestly, right? So she's asking at what threshold does a feature or a characteristic now is it now a red flag?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like honestly, I'd say like if you're a farmer and you have a lot of wheat harvest,
okay,
and you decide to thresh the wheat and then you put it inside like a storage unit.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good threshold.
I need to come up with non-punnable vocabulary. Right?
Impossible.
I'll find a way.
Impossible.
I need to. I'll find a way. But what are your thoughts on what she's asking? Like, when does a red flag? When is a characteristic become a red flag? Like, how would you define that?
I'd say like if it stands out to you, right?
Yeah.
Like if it jumps out at you and you sort of, for lack of a better term, get the ick.
Yeah.
The ick is your body telling you, hey, watch out, there's danger. You know?
Yeah. Do men get the ick?
Yeah, like men would get the ick.
Yeah.
everyone can get the ick. It's a biological response.
Yeah.
You know?
So
it tells you when something's toxic.
Okay, so it's like an instinctive aversion.
Yeah.
Right? That this is not it. Okay, so let's go through a little bit of, let's get into mildly lecture mode.
Yeah, let's do that.
If I become too lectury, let me know, right?
Yeah,
but I
let's
just
get there.
want to make sure that we have some of the information come across. Now, I've said this before on the podcast, but it's important to remember that John Gottman, which is probably, as far as I'm concerned, one of the most important experts on marriage that we have today. He, in his research, as a result of the research in his marriage lab, he found that approximately 2/3, or about 70%, right, of relationship problems are quote unquote unsolvable. So that when you meet somebody, about 70% of the issues that you have with this person. So, for example, when you met me, chronic lateness, 70% of those issues are going to be unsolvable. So, part of distinguishing whether or not a person is compatible with you or not is choosing the set of flaws or the set of issues that you are happy to live with forever.
Yeah.
Right? So that's so those would be the relationship issues, or the flaws, or the characteristics. Now,
it makes sense, honestly, because the human body is made up of what, 70% water?
Okay.
And so 70% of issues being unsolvable, that makes sense, because you can't really grasp it, right? You don't have anything solid to hold on to.
I'm never going to not find punnable words, am I?
No, that wasn't a pun.
Anyway, so
that was just a connection.
There are going to be 70% of issues are not insolventable.
Oh, insolventable.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's good.
That's not a real word, but it makes sense.
Insoluble?
Yeah, that's
good.
It's been so long since chemistry that I can't believe I forgot the word insoluble. Anyway.
Ironically, we're talking about chemistry.
Okay. So it's important to keep that in mind when you are in the process of searching for a spouse. So the question is, so you have flaws versus red flag. What a red flag is, and how it differs from a flaw, is that a red flag is something that you definitely will not be able to live with.
Yeah.
And a flaw is something that you may or may not be able to live with, and it's usually an issue of compatibility.
Yeah.
That's I would say, the first distinguishing factor between the two. The second distinguishing factor, which is probably more important, red flags are things that would lead to abuse.
Oh.
Abuse, right?
I feel like that's a black flag.
And we call them red flags, right? So red flags are indicators that there's a potential for abuse in a relationship with this individual. Those are real red flags, in my opinion, and according to my understanding of that terminology. So that's what makes a flaw, the difference between a flaw and a red flag is the potential for abuse, whereas a flaw is usually just an issue of compatibility.
Yeah.
So my chronic lateness, it can be argued, will likely not lead to abuse.
Yeah, it's not a red flag.
Yeah, but for example, if let's go through the examples that she gave and distinguish whether or not these are red flags or flaws. Flags or flaws, right? So she asked about Iman being a bit low. Do you think that's a red flag or if it's a flaw?
I think that's it honestly, it depends. I feel like if you know the person's Iman is low, then that would be a red flag. But if you marry them and then their Iman goes low, I think that would be a flaw, right?
Yeah.
Because that means like they have a capacity for their Iman being high already.
That's true, but
people tend to oscillate.
Yeah.
Up and down in Iman.
Yeah, of course.
Relative to where they already are. And only if they do something severe will that Iman drop drastically. Right?
Yeah.
But people, as long as they're doing the good things in life,
Mm-hmm.
it's expected that their iman will rise.
Okay. So if we go with our definition that red flags are things that can indicate potential abuse.
Yeah.
A low iman, in my opinion.
I think that's an indicator of potential abuse.
I don't think it is, because there are people who are non-Muslim where their iman is at zero, right? According to Muslim definition, right?
You can still have iman as a non-Muslim.
I think iman is belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His messenger.
Is that the actual definition?
Yeah, I think that's faith.
I thought iman was faith.
Yeah, faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His definition. It
doesn't have to be in His messenger though, right? Because there are people of the book that are still not Muslim, right? Yeah. It's the belief in one God.
Okay, so it says, I'm just looking, I think according to, there's pillars of faith.
Yeah.
So the pillars of faith are going to be features of your iman. I don't think the two can be separatable or
for
separable.
Muslims, yeah, I think.
That's what I'm saying. So the term iman is with respect to Islam.
Oh, okay.
Whereas faith is...
If we hold that
yeah,
intrinsic value right there.
Again, you and I are regular practicing Muslims. This discussion should not be taken as jurisprudence by anyone. Please make sure you do your own research.
The way I see it is that, okay, so if iman is Muslim exclusive, then faith, right?
Yeah.
A person who's not Muslim, I think can still have faith in Allah. They just don't recognize Islam yet, right? So a person with high faith, I think, would not abuse their partner of any religion.
I think we're getting lost a little bit in the semantics of the terms. Yeah. I think we're getting lost in the semantics, right?
Yeah.
I think in general, especially with respect to how she is asking this question, this young lady, where she is asking, I met somebody, and what if their belief in all, like their sense of faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His messenger, because she's a Muslim, asking about Muslim partners, if that's a little low, on the little low end. Or I think what she's alluding to here is that maybe her values and their values don't align, because when people when we are lower iman, then we start to become lax on how strongly we hold to values. So with respect to iman specifically, I think that is a feature of your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I don't think it's a feature of your character or propensity for abuse. I think this is something between, in the same way that an individual will become lax in their physical health, right? Yeah. At some points, they'll be very diligent with their diet and their exercise regimen, and then at other points, that diligence will start to come down a little bit.
I think that if we were to say, I want to find someone that's capable of going to the gym, for example, right?
Yeah.
I think the safest thing to do is to look for someone who's already going to the gym, right? I think it wouldn't make sense to me as an individual to see someone's iman is low and then go marry that person.
No, I agree with you.
Right?
I'm not saying that you should go forward with this.
Yeah.
Right? What I'm trying to differentiate is the difference between a flaw, which tends to be an issue of compatibility.
Yeah.
And if you are incompatible in some feature, don't go forward. Right? That's going to, so that might lead to issues in the marriage because you're not compatible in some respects. However, it's possible to be incompatible with some features, but those incompatibilities to not be a red flag, because red flags are for features that can potentially lead to abuse.
Yeah.
Now, it's possible for a person to have low iman or no iman and still not be an abusive partner. They can become wonderful partners, right?
True.
As long as you are compatible with that feature of low iman or no iman, right? So when she asks about low iman, I agree with her. That's not a red flag. But a wise person and a wise individual would check whether or not this person's values align with yours in order to give yourself a good chance for a successful marriage.
Yeah. My input on this, like my take on it, is that you'd have higher success finding a non-abusive partner if you look for a person with high iman.
Well, yeah.
If it's a game of probabilities, for example.
Can I be 100% honest with you?
Go ahead.
That's an idea that I also had.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's an assumption that I also made.
Yeah.
But having been coaching for as long as I have, I can tell you that that correlation doesn't actually exist.
Yeah.
That there are plenty of times where, because I coach specifically Muslim women, right? So those are the people who come to me. I'm not saying that there aren't abusive women. I'm saying that my clients are women. So there are so many incidents of women who come to see me, who are married to individuals who have outwardly high iman, more practicing than me for sure. And still the marriage that they have with them is abusive, right? So and in that discussion of what red flags did you see during the talking stage, there are actual legitimate red flags that she would have seen during the talking stage that would have indicated there's a potential for an abusive marriage here, right? So that correlation between iman, or relative practicing, outward practicing, because only Allah can see what's actually whether this is sincere iman, what's going on in a person's heart. We can only see what's going on the outside.
Yeah, it could be hypocritical.
Exactly. So that correlation doesn't exist for us to be able to see as human beings.
Mm-hmm.
The other example that she asked about is an individual who has difficulty coping with stress, so they freak out every other day about something new. Okay, so I'm just going to interpret this that she might be referring to somebody who has maybe a highly activated nervous system. Maybe they're suffering from things like anxiety or a panic disorder or a mental health issue. Mental health issues are not red flags. Most mental health issues are not red flags because mental health issues tend to not indicate that this can be an abusive relationship.
Mm-hmm.
There are plenty of people who are going through depression, who are going through anxiety, who are going through a host through all the things that are in the DSM, I think 5 now, that are not abusive, right? That are not abusive. It's possible to have a mental health issue and not be abusive.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So that's why having a mental health issue by itself is not a red flag. However, you have to be honest with yourself about this individual's capacity to be able to build a healthy marriage. Because you might, if you start a marriage with this person and they're going through severe depression, the relationship might not be abusive. However, it would be very difficult for you to be able to build anything real with somebody who is suffering. Maybe they're not ready yet. Right? So it's, again, a compatibility issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a compatibility issue rather than a genuine red flag.
We're assuming it's not a debilitating mental health issue, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like almost all of, I think everything can be treated to some degree, right?
Yeah.
But we're assuming that it's something that is going to affect their ability to be able to build a healthy marriage. If this sentence could be interpreted another way, of somebody who is, we'll say, very freaks out at her.
Yeah.
Right? That's different. Freaks out, quote unquote, freaks out at her, gets angry with her of every small issue, then that's a red flag. Because that can be an indicator that there might be abuse in the future, yeah. So hopefully that's somewhat clear, the difference between a flaw and a red flag. Okay, so now let's talk about the overall approach, right?
Yeah.
So we've defined the terms. Let's talk about the overall approach. Now, what a lot of people do is they make lists of red flags. They gather very long lists of red flags of things that might indicate this person is potentially abusive.
Yeah. You just got to make sure you don't check it twice.
Why not? Is it because of Santa?
Yeah, we're Muslims.
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
Check it 3 times.
3 times.
3 times.
Make sure it's not it's nothing like Santa. With respect to approach, creating the long list of red flags, no matter how comprehensive the list is, doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah, why do you think it doesn't work?
I feel like if you create a list, you'll open up avenues of new issues coming to light later on.
Yeah.
And then you'll be like, this wasn't on the list.
Exactly.
I wasn't prepared for this.
Exactly. It's I think another reason why the lists don't work that I've seen is that no matter how much knowledge an individual has about a topic and how well versed they are, when they form an emotional attachment to an individual, like a new potential match, or they are really trying to get away from the pain of being alone, like they have some motivation that is pushing them to starting this relationship, right? They start to overlook these red flags. They will excuse them away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, for example, if we have a red flag that, somebody has a temper, that's a clear and obvious red flag. You should let that you should walk away because that can potentially lead to abuse. But instead, what sometimes women do, and I'm sure men do the same thing, is they say, well, they had a difficult childhood, right? This person had a difficult childhood and upbringing, and this temper might be some sort of coping mechanism that they've been using. And subconsciously, what that person is telling themselves is, I will help them heal through that, and that will go away.
Typically, what I tend to do if I see people with difficult childhoods is I'll buy them a yellow children's sweater with like a hoodie.
Yeah.
I'll give them a bright childhood.
All right. But you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I erased their history.
Yes, right? But you understand what I'm trying to say, that people are excusing.
They make excuses.
Yeah, they're excusing the way the red flags because they're invested in this working out.
Yeah.
Right? So for example, if you're out and you're house hunting and you've been house hunting for a long time and you have this additional motivation that your lease is up, right? So you need to just live anywhere. And you come across this house and the person who does the evaluation of the house comes and tells you, by the way, there's a hint of mold and termites and all these things.
Yeah.
If they're really motivated to find a house, any house, they might just excuse that away to be like, we'll fix that, we'll fix this, we'll fix that.
Yeah.
It's fine, it's doable, and then they'll move in.
The landlord says, oh, by the way, I live inside your walls.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out as we go, right?
Yeah.
That's literally the type of thinking that goes. And I know because that was me, right? I know this very well because I used to do exactly the same thing, right? When people check boxes, all these other boxes, you start to overlook the areas in which you really should be paying attention to.
It's a sunk cost fallacy.
Yes, that is definitely one of the contributors is the sunk cost fallacy and a number of other factors.
For those that don't know, the sunk cost fallacy is when you spend a long time or enough money on one goal that you're like, oh, I've already gone this far.
Yeah.
It would be a waste to give up.
Yeah. Yeah, we talk ourselves into bad relationships, right? Or we talk ourselves into bad marriages. So if the lists of red flags don't work, then what do we do instead?
You make a list of green flags and hope it works out.
I don't have any experience of that method working. Let me tell you what I've been doing for clients and myself that I found has been working much better. Instead of disjointed lists of red flags, I find that it works much better to understand the intention and the archetype and of the person that you're talking to. So if you see red flags and they fit in the constellation of, we'll say, manipulator, and you understand the intentions or the underlying motivations of what a manipulator is trying to do, like you look behind the curtain, right? Understanding the intentions in such a way that you're looking behind the curtain and you're looking right at Oz. Right? It's going to be a lot harder to be dazzled by his tricks if you can see the man behind the curtain.
Yes.
Does that make sense? It becomes a lot harder to excuse away the red flags when you understand the intentions of why these red flags are presenting in the first place. So instead of teaching disjointed lists of red flags without context, what I do is I teach archetypes of individuals so that, if you see this feature, and this feature, this is likely pointing to somebody who is, for example, rebounding from a previous relationship. And their intention is to soothe the pain of separation anxiety. And they can't really see you. They can't really see you as an individual. They think that they want to commit. And when they tell you they want to commit, they might be lying to themselves, if not only just to you. But the truth is, the moment the separation anxiety is healed or the previous ex comes back, that relationship is over. Right? So by understanding all of that information and the underlying intention, and really seeing this version of Oz, then people do a much better job at walking away. They take the red flags a lot more seriously, and they end up walking away. So rather, I don't think the lists method works. I think the archetype method works a lot better. Right. And
follow the yellow brick road.
And in this case, follow the green brick road, right? To Emerald City.
There you go. I don't know what that is. Emerald City? Is that in Sonic? That's in Sonic.
No, it's in Wizard of Oz. It's the name of the city that Oz was in.
Oh.
Yeah, Emerald is the green color. So follow the green brick road to Emerald City. It worked out.
It was beautiful.
Thank you. But so hopefully that makes sense. So over the years, like my clients and listeners will know that I see and think in patterns. And I understand that there are 7 different archetypes of men in particular that people need to understand their intentions and be able to see and distinguish when they are in that marriage market. And in my dating app strategies that actually work live webinar, we talk about 2 of these archetypes, the one that's the most common and the one that's the most dangerous, in my opinion. And we cover
Sounds like important information to have.
I think it's the information that I teach in the webinar is the information that I wish somebody had told me when I was looking for, well, now we know that I was looking for you. It would have saved me so much time, so much heartache. So we cover this in 1 hour period, and we do this webinar once a month at the last Saturday of the month. I think in December it will be Saturday, December the 27th. So if you're a young woman, because these webinars are for women only, and you are looking for a spouse on using the dating apps, I highly recommend that you sign up. In Shaa Allah, I like to keep those fairly small so that they stay interactive, and I will leave a link to that in the description below. For the other 5 archetypes, I cover those in a program called the Dating App Starter Kit, which is just 3 days. And over that 3-day period, that we heavily focus on covering those archetypes, so that by the time you're finished that program and you go back into the dating apps, you'll be able to recognize and see who is who clearly within just the first few, from the bio. Usually from the bio, if not then from the inbox, right? So if that's something that interests you, that can be found on my website, www.zarahassancoaching.com, and I will also leave a direct link to that in the description below as well. I think we covered all the information. Is there anything that we're missing?
No, that was great.
Okay, all right. So if you are still here with us and made it this far in the episode, Jazaa K'Allah Khayr, we appreciate you choosing to spend your time with us. If you have not subscribed to our channel, please consider subscribing. It really, really helps us out to get this message to a wider audience. If you have subscribed, you're awesome. We appreciate you. Jazaa K'Allah Khayr. I think that's everything. So have a wonderful week, and assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.